Good evening, Good Shepherd, and welcome to the online campus of the Good Shepherd Church. Tonight's lineup includes Father Miller tells us what religious education will look like for this upcoming year. Father Miller takes you behind the scenes with the Baptistry here at Good Shepherd, and Stump the Priest questions and answers. I'm Brian Pritchard. Now here are your hosts, Father Neil Sullivan and Father Sam Miller, with Good Evening, Good Shepherd.
Hey everybody, welcome to Good Evening, Good Shepherd. We're glad you're with us. Thanks for joining us. This is episode number...
15, 16?
15, 16? Yeah, one of the slash ones. Yeah, exactly,
Oh, no.
Yeah. Good. So, and we want to greet everybody, especially everyone who started school the last couple of days. Exciting time.
Yeah,
Isn't it something
yeah.
crazy? Remember the first day of school when you were a little kid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my backpack was too big for me.
Exactly. That was a big thing going back to school, do you remember what was one of your favorite lunch boxes that you had, Father Miller?
I remember I had this one blue one that had you had two pouches. You had stuff for your dry, whatever, and then you could stick a freezer pack in there in the bottom section. That's where you put your sandwich, so keep it, but the one side would always be soggy, whatever side got frozen in it. So,
no superheroes?
I don't remember. I remember having very plain lunch boxes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
We have the old metal ones.
The old metal ones, exactly. We're old school.
It's probably Star Wars or something.
Exactly, yeah. With the little clip on it and things like that. And if you were really cool, you had a place for your thermos inside. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, when I went to grade school, I went to Holy Family School over in Harrisburg, and we didn't have lunch at school. We walked home, like some people here in Camp Hill do. And so we walked home for lunch every day. We had an hour. So 15-minute walk home, half hour for lunch, and 15-minute walk back. Whoa. So pretty cool. The first time I ever had lunch at school was really when I went to high school at McDevitt. So it was interesting. So yeah, so back to school. Hope everyone has a really good transition back in, no matter how you're going back, in what way, shape, or form. We're so glad that you're with us tonight, and praying for all those, especially who are away at college right now.
Yeah.
In this really crazy time.
Farewell, good luck.
Yeah, and stay well.
Yeah, that's right.
Well. So, Father Miller, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good.
It's, a little hotter these days. It was nice last week. I didn't have to worry about, all the melting, when I go running.
Yeah.
I have to worry about that again.
Yeah. The dog is summer here, I'm telling you.
Right.
August is going to end with a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, how are you?
Doing good, Father. Thanks.
Good.
Staying busy.
Staying busy. We got a big thing coming up in just about a month from now, Brian, don't we?
We sure do. September 26th, the food truck event with a yard sale, too.
Wow, isn't that exciting?
It is exciting.
Trucks on Trindle last year was such a huge success and so popular that we're going to do it again, and it'll be social distancing.
Yep.
And even there on our logo, as you can see right now,
Yes.
we have the little mask on the truck, and then you see the two little priests, one with graying temples, that's me, and one with all black hair, that's Father Miller, with our masks on too, so you can join us. We got some great trucks coming. Brian, who's coming to be with us that day?
I don't have my list with me, but off the top of my head, we got His and Hers, which they're pretty much like cheesesteaks, hot dogs, French fries.
They got a mobile diner. It's pretty cool.
Mobile diner, I'd say. It's called His and Hers. Their last name is actually Hers, so.
All right.
There you
His
go.
and Hers. We got potato coop coming. They're French fries, and
Excellent.
I never ate a potato coop, yo.
Yeah, local. But they're a local Camp Hill Hill truck. It's great.
Yep, Camp Hill guys. Marsico, Italian food truck. He's coming
That's excellent.
with a larger menu.
Excellent. Excellent.
There'll be more than gnocchi.
Exactly. They have really
and-
good meatballs and
They
really
do.
excellent cheese sticks.
They do. Mad Dash is coming. They're grilled cheese.
Amazing.
Yep. 717 Tacos.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
He's good. And
Sarah's
Sarah's
Creamery.
Creamery. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're pretty good.
Oh my gosh, great milkshakes from them.
Yeah, it's like somewhat Penn State they have to do with.
Yeah, Penn State
The
Creamery or
Penn
something like
State
that.
Creamery,
Yeah,
so.
pretty cool.
And they're all excited. And for Lucky, the Greek truck will come.
Yeah.
What's the name of this truck? I forgot.
It's all Greek to you?
You got it.
There you go.
That's what it is. Yeah, if his truck's fixed and out of the shop by then, he'll be here. He left his awning open, driving down the road, and ripped the whole side of his truck
Oh,
off.
no.
Don't, sorry, Pete. It's not funny if you're listening. All right?
No, but
Ripped
yeah.
the whole side of his truck off. Really
Oh.
good guy. Hope they make it. And that's about it. Then we're gonna have the put the yard sale together too. So I think it's
Wow.
gonna be a good event, and it's the yearly event. This is actually the second annual food truck event.
Wonderful.
Should we name it different now that we're gonna be having yard sales at the same time?
No, it's Trucks on Trendle.
Trucks on Trendle.
Trucks on Trendle. We need
All
a new brand for the yard sale part of it.
Yeah.
We don't want to say trash on Trendle. That
No.
wouldn't be too nice. No. How about trinkets?
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Trinkets on Trendle.
Treasures on
Treasures
Trendle.
on. There you go.
Treasures
So you're
on
learning.
Trendle.
Very good. Very good.
Rub it
Treasures
off.
on Trendle. I love it.
Absolutely.
So we'll be renting out space for you to bring all your wares that you want to get rid of, and so start looking as to what you might want to make a little couple bucks on, and pass on your treasures to somebody else.
Exactly.
So it's back to school time, and so a lot going on when it comes to back to school. And here at Good Shepherd, we're always learning, and an important part of that is our religious education program. And this year, it's going to be a little bit different. We're being very responsive, as responsive as we can, and also as responsible as we can when it comes to keeping everybody safe and sound. And so Father Miller has some really exciting news about our religious education program for 2020-21.
That's right. So, as Father mentioned, we've had to do a little bit of adapting for this upcoming religious education year to keep everybody safe and comfortable with all our social distancing and everything going on. So we've kind of adopted this new online program from the Sophia Institute called the Spirit of Truth, which is a K through 8 program that's actually very, very dynamic, something that your kids are going to love when they join religious education, something that they'll get to really actively participate. It offers a dynamic and very memorable program that'll teach our children the faith. It'll assist our catechists to teach them the faith, and it has like a few games and a few things that for activities and stuff, since we can't do like the social stuff that we will be missing, but we kind of make up for that with doing some fun activities and stuff that are adaptable to all the ages, all the grades and stuff that we have. So we've got registration out for that right now. If I can, I'll put a link in the description.
Absolutely, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Father, it will be kind of it's online, but it's really live online, correct? It's not like a
Right.
webinar or press play at home. We're actually going to have religious education at the same time, 6:30 on Monday evenings.
Correct.
And there'll be a catechist there in the group in their own special room, online classroom, and be leading the conversation and
Correct,
the activities,
yeah.
right?
It's all interactive. That's like the beautiful thing about it. That so, like Father was saying, it's not necessarily something that your kids just kind of plug and play. That it's still kind of catechist led. We'll be using Zoom, and the kids will have like their own little classrooms with a couple teachers to be able to guide them through the lessons and activities that we have planned. It's at its typical time at 6:30, and it'll be a lot of fun. Of course, adapting to this whole thing and being able to teach our kids dynamically that way, to bring them the faith, which is so important.
Every challenge creates an opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And an opportunity to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you have a video for us of this. I think Brian has the video for us back there of the show. So why don't we go to that video?
To understand baptism, we have to recognize how God has used water throughout salvation history. We read about how sinful the world had become during the time of Noah. The world needed cleansing, so God sent a flood of water that washed away all the wickedness and made the world new. God again used water to bring death and rebirth in the book of Exodus. He sent Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. When they came to the Red Sea, God parted the water so the Israelites could pass from slavery into new life in the Promised Land. Once they reached the other side, He unleashed the water to flood the Egyptians who wanted them returned as slaves. In both of these instances, God used water to bring about the death of the wicked, but it also restored life to the righteous, ushering in a new beginning of goodness. The Lord uses water to end evil and to bring forth life. When we are baptized, we pass through water just as the Israelites did. Our former life of sin is washed away, just as it was in the time of Noah. But how do we get from water in the Old Testament to the waters of baptism? Let's dive a little deeper. God created you with a body and a soul. Even after you die on earth, your soul lives forever in heaven or in hell. You need God's life, called grace, in your soul to go to heaven. But when you are born, you do not have God's grace in your soul. Why? Because Adam and Eve chose to disobey God. God created Adam and Eve with grace in their souls so they could be united with Him. Like all of us, Adam and Eve had a choice to return God's love or to reject Him. When they chose to listen to Satan, they broke the unity between heaven and earth. God never stopped loving them, but they lost the grace that had allowed man to live forever with God. So why does this one original sin, committed at the beginning of human history, still affect us today? Because Adam and Eve's sin wounded human nature, making us weak and inclined to sin. It's why we argue and are selfish, and why there's disease and death. We are all descendants of Adam and Eve, so we inherit their original sin and broken relationship with God. Even though Adam and Eve's sin is not your fault, it left a dark emptiness in your soul where grace used to be. So if we are born into sin, and sin means separation from God, then how do any of us have a chance of reaching heaven? There's only one way. God became man and freely suffered the punishment of sin, which is eternal separation from God. He rose again, defeating death, so we would not have to be sentenced to hell. All of us inherit things from our parents. Before
At every Mass, bread and wine become the body and blood of Jesus Christ. Could this really be true? Let's begin by looking at Jesus' words in Scripture. In the 6th chapter of the Gospel of St. John, Jesus had a long conversation with his disciples in which he said, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give is my flesh for the life of the world." Here, Jesus is telling us that he will give his body for us to eat. Many expressed disbelief and thought this teaching was absurd. Just as many do today, they struggle to accept what Jesus said as true. "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" they asked. Jesus could have backed down when he saw their reactions. But he didn't. Instead, he reinforced what he said before. "Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you do not have life within you." The Bible tells us that as a result of this teaching, many of his disciples left and refused to follow him. This wasn't the only place in the Bible where Jesus spoke of offering us his body to eat. At the Last Supper, the final meal Jesus had with his apostles before his crucifixion, he celebrated the very first Mass and transformed bread and wine into his body and blood. He told the apostles, "Take this, all of you, and eat of it, for this is my body which will be given up for you." And then he took the cup of wine and said, "Take this, all of you, and drink from it, for this is the chalice of my blood." Do these words sound familiar? They're the same words the priest uses today when celebrating Mass in your parish. At the Last Supper, Christ made his apostles the first priests and commanded them to follow his example and celebrate Mass for all Christians. That's why when you attend Mass today, you hear the priest say the same words Jesus said 2,000 years ago. When Jesus said, "This is my body," did he mean that he was literally offering his body and blood? Absolutely. Christ could not have been more clear in the words he chose. And the belief that the Eucharist was his body and blood went unquestioned for more than 1,000 years. But why would he give us his flesh to eat? Why ask us to do something that seems so strange? To understand, we have to go back to Adam and Eve. They chose to listen to Satan rather than God when they ate fruit from the one and only tree God had told them not to eat. When Adam and Eve used their free will to turn their back on God, which is called original sin, they broke the unity between heaven and earth. Man lost his familiar and intimate relationship with God. Disease and death crept into the world, and we became inclined towards sin. Justice demands that punishment follow every crime, and the only fitting punishment for man's offense was hell, eternal banishment from God. What a sad story this would be if it ended here. Although man offended God, God's mercy never faded. He began a plan to save us from sin and bring us back to union with Him. So that people could experience the forgiveness of sin, God asked man to sacrifice animals in their place. When the animal was killed, it suffered the punishment meant.
So pretty exciting. How about that?
Very
Father?
exciting. Very exciting.
Very dynamic and creative too. So we look forward to everyone being part of that. All of our young people who are not in Catholic school, who, we learn our faith in different ways. And so through our parish religious education program. So that's great. So another behind the scenes today, Father, is that correct?
That is correct.
Where are we going today?
We're going to something else that you might see every day, but might just kind of forget that it's there, and that's our baptistry. And it's really something families might see perhaps once or twice. They come to the, when their baby gets baptized, or it's something very integral and very important to our Catholic faith, and that's our this baptism. But how we do it at Good Shepherd is we use our baptistry, and
there we go.
It's huge. So. Why don't we take a look?
Take a look.
Hey guys, what's up? Today we're talking about the baptistry here at Good Shepherd as our behind the scenes thing. Why don't we just dive in, shall we? What's a baptistry? Well, simply speaking, it is a room that baptism occurs at. Back in the day, churches used to have separate rooms dedicated specifically to baptism. Now, really, really early in the church, when people were baptized, they were baptized, they were separated, men and women, and they were fully immersed and baptized. Of course, as time goes on, the room kind of sort of began to be assimilated into the church structure itself, so that in our modern structures now, the baptistry can be pretty much anywhere in the building that you might find it. So for us, here it is. We might use this maybe once or twice in our lives. Priests, of course, use it all the time, but as families, you might be here for your nephew, your niece, your son, your daughter, but 1 or 4 times, this might become something that you just kind of see in the background. But the baptistry is actually one of the most and foundational, important parts of our Catholic faith, because here begins the bedrock of salvation, right? So we get baptized, and original sin is gone. We are adopted into the family of Christ. Baptistries typically have a couple parts about them. They have the font itself, this thing right here, which when COVID wasn't a thing, we could fill with water and baptize the child from there. But now it's kind of left empty. We've kind of had to modify it. Did you ever wonder why we had an image of Noah's Ark here? We say there are a few things that prefigure baptism in the Old Testament. One of them, of course, is Noah's Ark. The floods cleared away all that was unclean and brought new life to Noah and his family. Whatever happens to us at baptism, we are cleared of our original sin and new life is given to us, adoption into the family of Christ. One of the other things you might notice about the baptistry is the paschal candle rests right near it. And that's because during the baptismal liturgy, as most of you probably remember, the godparent, one of them, gets the candle lit from the paschal candle. It's a sign of, obviously, the paschal candle represents our Lord's resurrection, right? We get that we get that on Easter. We light the paschal candle. And so, by lighting a candle from the paschal candle, we're also symbolizing that we are participating in the resurrection because we are baptized into Christ's life, his resurrected life. If you ever go traveling, you'll notice that, especially in foreign countries, those baptistries will be off to the side. They'll be in a different room altogether. One of the things you'll also notice about the baptistry is its size. We can't do full immersion, obviously. The church asks that the water be poured over the head with the invocation of, "I baptize you in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." And that counts. You'll see some places still do full immersion, and they'll still have like whole places that you can just walk down into. When I went to the Holy Land, the Jordan River, they told you not to like breathe in the water or drink in the water, but you'd have people going down and being baptized in the Jordan, just like John the Baptist was baptizing people in Jordan. I mean, all of that kind of follows up to what we see right here in front of us. That, we, in a way, we take the Jordan River with us wherever we go by being able to baptize wherever. As long as you've got water and you've got those words, you've got a baptism. Well, that does it for another Behind the Scenes here at Good Shepherd. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope it was informative. And tune in next week for another Behind the Scenes.
Another excellent job, Father.
Thank you.
Really good job. Wow. Very informative. Learned a little bit today, too. That's great. Excellent.
That's right. Thank you.
So that brings us to what, Mr. Pritchard?
I believe it's Stump the Priests.
Oh, here we go.
Stump the Priests.
What's our theme this week?
Today's category is the 80s.
Wow, I love the 80s.
Yeah.
I love the 80s.
Born yet, Father Miller, or what?
No. That was a couple years after.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. First question, Father Sullivan.
Yes.
1981, what famous shipwreck was found?
I only know of one famous shipwreck. I'm going to say the Titanic.
You got it right.
Really? It was only found in 81. How about it?
81, yeah.
Wow.
Not the Edmund Fitzgerald? Wait, that probably was the 70s.
What's that?
The Edmund Fitzgerald. It's a song. But it's
Okay.
also a ship that sank.
Oh. I thought they would have found that before 81, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Father Miller. What year was Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back released? 1980, 1981, or 1982?
Oh, so this was we owned the special edition VHS tapes of the Star Wars that came out, I think, in like the early 90s.
Yeah.
When George Lucas revamped them. But the one guy who would always introduce the previews is in 1977. George Lucas changed the way we look at movies. I remember it took probably about 3-4 years for it to come out, but I'm gonna guess 1980 for Empire.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
There we go.
It's back
Good
when they
job.
used to take a lot of care into making movies instead of every year.
What was that, the second one that came out? I lost track after like Return of the
Yeah, so
Jedi. I don't even
it's the
watch
second.
that.
Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. That's as far as I went.
Yeah, as far as
The
I
other
went.
ones
all
I
you
don't
need.
understand.
I've
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Was it the
Yeah,
Ewoks?
It was all got very confusing after that.
Yeah. Father Sullivan.
Yes.
In 1983, the first woman went into space. What was this woman's name?
Oh, Sally Ride went for a space ride.
You got it right.
There you go. I just saw recently there was an article somewhere I was reading about the women who were in the space program even before that. And they were
really?
training alongside those first male astronauts who went into space. Pretty
Okay.
interesting. Yeah.
Father Miller or Father Sullivan, to the nearest 100,000, how much did the average Super Bowl commercial cost in 1982?
Oh.
You
Wow.
go first, Father Sullivan.
So you said the nearest 100,000. That means,
Nearest-
okay, I'm going to take a clue from the question that it's not above $1 million because it would have said to the nearest million.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say $600,000.
Ooh, you're close. Nope.
$599,000.
Here we go. Back
Here
to the
we
Price
go.
is Right
Back
again.
to-
Here we go.
You don't want to sit next to Father
Higher or
Miller.
lower?
No, you're both wrong. The cost of the average Super Bowl ad was $324,000. What a bargain.
Wow. I wonder what that is today in 2020
It's
dollars.
in millions. Who knows?
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing. Wow. Interesting.
The commercials aren't that funny anymore.
No, these people
they ran out of ideas.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah. How many times? Yeah.
It's always the Budweiser horses.
Exactly.
Is that right?
The
Clydesdales, yeah. My gosh, the big exciting things.
That's
well,
it.
Well, thanks for joining us again this week. We'll be back next week with all kinds of things. And so remember, we're here to serve you and keep connected. We're stronger together. So please, please, please let us stay connected. And if we can help you in a way, let us know. We have a regular Sunday Mass schedule and our live streaming Mass at 9:30 as well. And then also during the week, our Monday through Friday Mass at 8:30 is open to the public. And we're also live streaming that. And Saturday mornings, the 8:30 Mass is live streamed as well. Any comments for Father?
Oh my gosh, continue to like, comment, and subscribe, folks. Those are always super helpful to us. And, sharing the video, leaving us some likes, that's huge. So, yeah, keep it up.
Brian, any final words of wisdom tonight?
Thanks for watching. Enjoy the end of the summer and be safe.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So until we see each other, please be smart.
Be safe,
Be well.
be holy, and be at peace.